Well, everybody, it's high noon. Actually, it's 12:03, so a little technical difficulty was settled, and Tom and I are here for episode 19 of Once Upon a Time in Spaghetti Westerns, the podcast. We have a special show for you. As always, Tom, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Tom Betts.
The one and only Tom Betts, and
From
I'm
Almeria.
He's in Almeria. I'm here in my basement at my parents' house.
And a special guest from Rome, or
Right.
Milan. I'm sorry, he's in Milan.
Well, that's what he wants you to believe. But anyway, so let's get Once Upon a Time in Spaghetti Westerns on the road. Well, Tom, when the bell strikes 3, we know what it's time for, and it's time to welcome our guest, Daniel Camargo, author, filmmaker. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy to be. So far I'm happy. Let's see.
So far, yeah.
But it's really a great honor sharing this space with you guys and talking about things that we love.
Good.
Yes, Spaghetti Westerns. Yeah, we're honored to have you in our continuing, series of having authors on. So you follow a nice, illustrious cast so far. Daniel, for those of you who don't know, wrote a book on Anthony Steffen, and he also did a documentary on George Hilton, and we're going to be talking about both. Real quick, let me introduce myself. I'm Jay Jennings, Spaghetti Westerns collector. Over there is Tom Betts, Spaghetti Westerns historian, and of course the aforementioned Daniel Camargo. So Daniel, you're from Brazil.
I'm Brazilian. I'm from a city called Niterói, which is right attached to Rio de Janeiro. So I have one of the best views in the world because I can see Rio from the window.
There you go. Yeah. But you're not there.
Yeah, well, but Milano is also nice.
Right. Can you see the statue of Christ?
Yes, I can. And even the sugar loaf, the pão de açúcar. But
okay.
Niterói is a Indian word that means hidden water.
Hidden water. Okay.
Well, Daniel, we want to welcome you. You're here for our special tribute to George Hilton and Anthony Steffen, two legends of the spaghetti western genre. I think probably after Clint and Lee Van Cleef and Eli, and I think you'd have to put those two as probably the two names that I guess helped bring the genre into what it is today. What do you think, Daniel?
Well, we can't deny also Mr. Franco Nero and Juliano Gemma, and those two.
Oh yeah, I know that. I'm just saying these two guys are really important as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, just slightly. That's why you wrote a book on them and did a documentary.
Yeah, but we don't have now in Italy we don't have a holy trinity, but it's not a triangle because Nero, Gemma,
Hill.
Yeah, Spencer and Hill.
Spencer and Hill, of course.
In Brazil, people.
Robert Woods, Brett Halsey.
Yeah. It's a huge constellation of people. But I agree with you, Jay. When you talk about Western, you can't deny. That's the Holy Trinity: Clint, Eli, and Lee Van Cleef. So
right. Well, anyways, listen, I wanted to welcome you to the show. We have a lot to talk about, and we want to get it under 3 hours, Tom, right? We said under 3 hours?
Well, he'll be up till midnight. That's right. It's 9
Right,
o'clock in
it's where
Milan.
you are, Daniel.
Yeah,
But
but
we're gonna
I have wine and pizza, so I'm good.
maybe you have to send some to me.
There you
So we're going to split the show up into two sections. First, we're going to discuss the career and films, or spaghetti western films, of George Hilton, and of course your great documentary on him, where you got to talk to him and interview him extensively, and we have some behind-the-scenes exclusive pictures. And then for a second part of the show, we're going to be covering, of course, Anthony Steffen and his great career, and then what your book that you wrote about him, and just how he was, because I think you actually worked with him on the book. You got to know him in his last few years.
Yeah.
So I guess first off, we'll talk about George Hilton, Daniel, and your documentary, and I guess how did it come to be? How did you get the idea, and how did it come to fruition?
Well, I mean, that wouldn't have the film without one of Hilton's cousins that lives in Brazil, whose name is Pablo. I mean, Pablo contacted a lot of people, I mean, from the press, saying, look, George Hilton, a famous actor, he did a lot of questions, which are huge box office hits in Brazil. He will be here in Brazil. But, uh, people wouldn't care so much because he thinks about Westerns. Well, anyway, I got the contact of Pablo, and I wrote him, wow, I want to meet Hilton, and I want to do a documentary with him. So I mean, well,
Well, who put you into contact with him?
a friend in common, Egyptian friend who lives in Brazil, called Ovadia Saadia. I mean, he made the connections, and so, I mean,
You
well,
got him on the phone? You got George on the phone?
no, George was not in Brazil yet. So I mean, in a, I mean, in a few days, me and Pablo became very good friends because I mean, he could see I knew the subject. He could see clarity in what I wanted to do, and he could see I, I knew I, I could do it. I knew how to do it. So I mean, at first he spoke to Hilton, but Hilton, Hilton. I mean, he had it all already. So he
Yeah.
didn't have to relax. But his companion, Gabriela, his then girlfriend, she was amazing because she convinced him to do the documentary.
Gotcha.
Right.
It was
So let me ask you. Let me just so we can move it along. I know if we would be here till probably 6 a.m. if we knew all the intricate details. But so you were put in contact with George, and you eventually. How did you get the face to face? And then did you show him a script or a layout?
well, first, I mean, when I was in Brazil, I lived in Rio. I had to move to another state called São Paulo, about 600 kilometers, and I went there to spend the weekend with George Hilton, Pablo, in this kind of beautiful villa in the countryside of São Paulo to get acquainted. Let's say to gain his confidence.
Hmm.
So um, you know, it was very it was very easy. It was kind of comfortable to be with him. He still was keeping the safety
Distance.
distance,
Hmm.
but and I mean he knew he was a star, and he could see I mean my admiration. But he was a real gentleman, very polite. Gabriela too was a very was very fine. His
Well, let
girlfriend.
me ask you. So wait a minute. Hold on. So by this point, he knew you already spoke to him. You would just show up and say, "I got an idea." He knew you wanted to present a
Yeah,
documentary about him,
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
best way to do that's in person. Maybe even sign a contract in person.
Well, so from this weekend, I mean, we got it all right. So let's do it. I mean, okay, and so I mean, I organized with Fabio Veloso a showing of his films in the Cinemateca, in the in the Film Museum of Rio, which is a very important place. We showed the Strange Visions of Mrs. Ward, and then there was a Q&A with Hilton afterwards. So on that same day, on a single day, I did a big interview with him, and then I recorded the Q&A, so to have all the material I needed. But there was a lot of blank.
Well, did you have a budget? Let me ask you, I just want to just move it, as I don't mean to cut you off. It's just, there's so much to ask you. So before you went and saw George, you had already set up with a producer, or you were the producer, you were responsible for raising the money?
I did it all. Because I mean, there was no time. There was no time because it was the same what happened with Hilton and Steffen. Because those people, they are okay, they are great, they are fantastic, but they are almost, I mean, they are 80 something.
Well, yeah, they're up in age, so you got to get these documentaries or books done, and if you want firsthand accounts, you got to talk to them. Sometimes they're in okay health. Sometimes I had to do the same thing. You meet your idols, and they're not what they look like 40, 50 years ago, but they're still who they are, and they still have their capacity to talk and remember, and that's the main thing. You want to get their memories.
Lose time, because if I went to the way of producing a film, raising the money, doing all that stuff, find the distributor, I mean, I would lose him.
Yeah. Right. Well, let me ask you, just so we're getting some fans asking, what is the name of your documentary, Daniel?
George Hilton, The World Belongs to the Daring.
George Hilton, The World Belongs to the Daring. Sounds like a James Bond movie. So anyway, let's take a look at the trailer, if you don't mind, Daniel. Give people an idea of what the film is like. So here is George Hilton. What's the rest of it, Daniel?
The world belongs to the Daring.
Shows you my memory, so you better talk to me quickly before I lose it. Okay, let's take a look real quick, and we'll come right back.
Hey, gentlemen.
Me gustaba interpretar, crear personajes que eran totalmente fuera de lo que era yo. Me gustaba interpretar un ladrón, un asesino, un drogadicto y crearlos a mi manera.
Jorge tenía en Montevideo, en Uruguay, una vida muy acomodada, viene de una familia muy tradicional y un día decide dejar Uruguay, dejar las comodidades.
Él nunca tuvo secretos, nunca tuvo dudas, que eso era lo che él quería hacer, che él iba a ser actor.
In quel momento l'Italia è stata la seconda cinematografia del mondo. Se si metteva sul cartellone un nominativo come George Hilton, a Giuliano Gemma o a Terence Hill più tardi, significava avere un seguito di pubblico che portava la gente al cinema.
Lui non si è mai montato la testa, è sempre fatto il padre di famiglia e anzi quando dovevamo uscire, dovevamo andare in qualche festa, cerimonia, la prima frase che diceva: buttiamo giù la maschera.
George, come altri di quella generazione, che sono dei miti, Mastroianni lo era in un modo diverso perché era un altro cinema.
I Visconti, i Pasolini erano considerati cultura, mentre i film di genere erano considerati sfruttamento commerciale della violenza.
Non era solo il regista, il produttore, il grande attore, ma era la gente miuda, la gente piccola che partecipava al cinema, dalla quale noi attingevamo.
I protagonisti sono degli eroi immortali, in situazioni pericolosissime e non muoiono mai. E questo il cinema western italiano lo ha realizzato in modo meraviglioso. meglio che il cinema americano.
Con i grandi registi con cui ho lavorato, Fellini, Rossellini, eccetera, loro mi insegnarono una cosa: sei bravo, deve arrivare. Per me, George Hilton bucava lo schermo.
Yo enfrenté la vida diciendo desde chico, el mundo es de los audaces.
Wow, good job. Excellent.
Excellent.
So, okay, so we'll just say that we'll have some photos that we'll show from behind the scenes. So without giving away a lot of stuff, how many weeks or months did it take to, I guess, from start to finish to put that together?
Oh, but it was not a continuous period, because I mean, I first did what I did in Brazil. Then when I was seeing the footage, oh, there are so many blank spaces. You know, I have to go to Rome and talk to people. So
Right.
I mean, I could organize myself, and I went to Italy, and I came to Italy where I am now, and also fell in love, not only with the country, but with my now wife and mother of my son.
Nice.
Providential in making the movie. He was a support.
So Daniel, so let me ask you though, so what was it, a year, 2 years? How long before it was finished?
3 years.
3 years. That is a labor of love, a long journey. I think it's interesting for Tom and I, especially the fans, to hear Gianni Garco speak in his real voice. That's kind of cool,
Yeah,
huh?
we always hear him dubbed.
Right, like I know well, this is your funeral and I'm your pallbearer, you know.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear him speak on his own.
Oh, same with Hilton. We never heard Hilton speak either. They was always dubbed.
Yeah, because you know, it was just like with Steffen, because I mean, because they were made so many movies in a short period of time that if they lose time dubbing themselves, at least in Italy, they would lose another movie.
Lose another movie, exactly.
Right.
Yep.
I'm just going to put some. I'm just going to put some posters as we talk up, so you know, just so we keep the conversation going, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
Tom?
Yep. Oh, what do you want to know?
Any gun can play, Tom.
Yeah, any gun can play. That was like the first one we saw over here. And Hilton plays a character called the Stranger, which that came from the Eastwood films, you know. We all knew Ed Burns from 77 Sunset Strip. And I mean, Gilbert Roland was a Hollywood legend. So you put those three in there acting against each other. It's a fantastic film. It's got a lot of action. It's got some comedy to it. Great film score.
Right.
And we got to know Hilton as a star right from there.
So Daniel, when you did your documentary, this is what I would do. Well, I am a documentary filmmaker, but I would show him all his films or the posters, and I'd say, what do you remember about that one? Or was this fun making? Did you kind of do the same thing?
Oh, yes. You have to do it. I mean, and find old photos but especially talk to people. I mean, I had no idea that it was the first time Enzo Di Castellari used that name instead of Enzo Girolami. And I mean, and he had quite a good recollection of the movie. It was a very providential in his career, and
right.
And Hilton remembered very good. I mean, it was a very tongue-in-cheek movie. All Hilton's characters had the characteristics. They are ironic, because Hilton he liked comedy, do comedy. But and when he had the opportunity to do some kind of lighter fare, he would take it and grab it.
Right. Of course, he was able to do Sartana's Here, Trade Your Pistol for a Coffin.
Yeah.
Excellent film. Is that one of his favorites? Was that one of Hilton's favorites?
No. No. I mean, his favorites were Massacre Time,
Right.
The Ruthless Four.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And almost like they're A Bullet for Sandoval.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Right. Okay.
Which is very curious because they are all very serious films.
Right.
Not that ironic character like Alleluia, Tresette, even let's say Kitosh.
Yeah, we call it the Crazy Bunch.
Yeah, I can't pronounce Kiddush without
Kitosh, the man who
damaging my
came from the
teeth.
north,
Kitosh.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
The Crazy Bunch are also Dickie Luft in Sacramento, Tom.
Yeah.
I think that's a fake one. That's one of the wiser made up titles. I don't think it was a real title.
And at Tresette is a card game that that you can cheat.
Gotcha.
So openly. So that's the kind of the tone of the movie.
That tells you right there. Yeah, right. Comedy, right.
He had a very nice. He had a really appreciation for Carnimeo, Giuliano Carnimeo.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was the director. He worked mostly.
Speaking of comedies.
Yeah.
Franco and Ciccio. Yep.
And in that was funny because Massacre Time had been out, and that came.
Yeah, well, like one extreme to the other, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
And it's fun because Totò is the king of Italian comedy,
right?
And then came Franco and Ciccio, which are the princes, and both Hilton and Anthony Steffen worked with them both.
Franco, yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, that was one thing about the Franco and Ciccio films. They always had a good supporting cast. They usually had a main actor, like you said, Steffen or Hilton, and most of the people that were with them you saw in other spaghetti westerns. So
that's
familiar. Yeah.
That's what I liked about spaghetti western, especially George Hilton. Almost everybody who's anybody was in a George Hilton movie, and that's what you liked. Some spaghetti western stars, maybe a couple times you'll see the same featured cast, like the Aldos or Fernandos, but Hilton would have other stars with him in the same movie, and mostly he would be the lead, I guess, except for Macho Killers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or he would be.
Yeah, co-star there.
Right.
Yeah. But
so what about Zorro? What do you say about this film?
Well, listen. You know that Franco Locaccio made a lot of money doing porn afterward. It was the deep down of the let's say Western genre. It wasn't. In George, he didn't say many things about it. The movie, you share a smile or other, but you see it's
right.
That one, El Passatore, it's a kind of Robin Hood of the culture, and he had absolutely star power and control over this production because the producer wanted to make a movie with him, and I do it if I can take whoever I want. Okay, so he brought Edwige Fenech, Carnimeo, and the whole crew. He was used to work.
Wow.
And, it's fun. Carnimeo, I think even if the movie is not so good, he has a flair. He has a good pacing. He knows how to tell a story, even if the story is not that good. But I see those movies with pleasure. Even that Zorro, it's a kind of, I see with tenderness, just like that Lucrecia Borgia, Hilton did.
Right.
The Sirpalane, who we remember from La Bête.
Yep.
The Valerian Borokovic.
Well, let's show the poster for Kitash. That's also our logo, Tom.
That's it. Kristen Nell.
Okay, Tom, move back, Tom.
I'm trying to read who's in there. What's he was in 2 Kitash movies, right?
Yes, I mean,
yeah. The first one was more of a, he was a scout for the army. The second one, what's the one he was in with Frank Wolf? Wasn't that the other Kitash movie?
No, I'm not sure. Memory.
Tom, what are we doing?
The second,
Don't make it tough for Daniel.
The second Kitosh was not a Kitosh. I mean, the movie went.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it was titled it, but he wasn't a Kitosh character. Yeah.
So a surprising success, because even it's fun because it's not a, let's say, it's not a usual Western ambience. All that Almeria desert stuff.
Right. And then we got Time of Vultures, Tom.
Time
No
of
Tears
Vultures,
for a Killer.
Yeah. What did you say? The other title you gave?
No Tears for a Killer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Last of the Bad Men, which I think it's mostly known for.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Last of the Bad Men. Frank Wolf's all dressed in black, got a black mustache. He's really hard in it. Yeah. I thought Hilton was better in this one than he was in the first one where he was Kitash, the man from the north.
Yeah.
Was that the one directed by Giovanni Fago? No.
I think so.
Because
I think it was.
It was that one because Fago is still around and he's a nice director, but he didn't have quite a good memory of the set because he said the director would take a lot of time. Was out. So and spending the producer's money. Things weren't moving. Just like when you shoot with Enzo Castellari, that
thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, action all the time. Right.
Were those
even in the making? Just like Giuliano Canimeo. He was very slow in the morning, but then all of a sudden, boom!
He got energy and went. Yeah,
and shoot it all.
These are tidbits, the stories that George would share with you from each film on the set, Daniel?
Oh, yes. Sometimes memory would fail him, but then he would remember. But a lot of stuff. But especially about us, yes. Macho Killers. That was you know that Carlos Monzon became famous for other things.
Yeah. Well, before and after, yes, he was. He was a world champion boxer, and then supposedly he killed his girlfriend.
Jesus.
Yeah. Went to prison. Yeah. And then he got killed.
Tom, always with the tidbits.
Killed in an auto accident.
Yeah. In the 95 or 96. But anyway, it was a Argentinian-Italian co-production, but it was already too late. Because it was already dead. But and Hilton had on his contract that Monzon, don't touch me. If there is a scene, only I can hit him.
Gotcha.
Because he was not an actor, he could miss a punch, and he was a boxer. So
yes.
Hilton, first just like the song from the team from Kitash that never leaves. The one from Macho Killers also stays. But it missed the point. It was already late. It was not the right time.
Right. Well, you got Moment to Kill, which is a favorite of mine, Tom.
Yeah, I love this one because it's all fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walter
a lot of fun
Barnes,
in this one.
Walter.
Frank.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did George have to say about this film, Daniel?
No, I mean, it was work, only work. He didn't have a kind of. He didn't have a kind of great connection. No, it was one more.
Okay, so on this film, we'll probably then, as you know, because we know we speak to a lot of actors, and I have in the past, even directors, that some films were more comfortable than others, some were more memorable than others, just because us fans enjoyed what we see. Sometimes maybe the behind the scenes or maybe the work flow of that film is right. It was just work, clock in, clock out. So yeah, it would be, what actor has I did 30 films, they all were fantastic, and I can tell you stories. Instead, it's going to be sporadic. Maybe a handful will be worth talking about. So I think probably what you're saying, that's probably one of them. So we can move on to the next one, which is, I think what you said was one of George's favorites. And that was, if I can find it, give me 2 seconds. It was The Ruthless Ones.
Well, The Ruthless Four.
Ruthless Four, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, that one, I mean, all the universe involving this film. First, the production was big. Wife and only daughter. Then he had 2 daughters. I mean, but that time only one was born. He stood in they were in a very nice place in Almeria, and being around Gilbert Roland and Van Heflin and even Kinski, because and curiously, Hilton and Kinski went well together. They became real friends.
Yeah,
and,
then you're working with two Hollywood veterans, and Gilbert Roland and Van Heflin. Yeah.
Yeah, but
everybody says even though they all have their Kinski was a madman or moment, everybody we've spoken to always says he was always nice and kind and gentle and what did Brett Halsey said? He offered him champagne and caviar, but no crackers, Daniel, just caviar. What quick story does George have about Klaus Kinski with him?
No. First, that they went to a dinner in Madrid after shooting day, and they entered this restaurant. It's a kind of seafood restaurant, so they see it. They were already very known people. They give him a huge dinner with all shrimps and locals and everything. Kinski went mad. I don't want any shit now. And George, easy, Klaus. What's happening? And then there was music, and stop the music, stop with those big eyes and like that. And, well, anyway, they kicked them out, the 2 of them out of the restaurant. But and also, I think they were still shooting in Spain, and the kid, Hilton's daughter, had to go back to Rome, and Hilton was going back to Rome too, and he offered himself to take the girl. And George's wife. But what are you crazy? It's trip. I mean, in a very, in
a nice way. Yeah.
Taking out on the plane.
Wow. Well, let's talk for a second. Another favorite Hilton film of mine, Tom. One More to Hell.
One More to Hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Full House for the Devil.
Yeah, this is another one. Yeah, they've sort of changed this lately to Full House for the Devil. But this is one of his more dramatic roles, not a comedy, and he's really good in this one.
Yeah, but it's I don't know, because it didn't. Not that it didn't click, but he couldn't say anything. I would do I would ask him about the director and the actor and the settings. Oh, was it shot in Helios or in but the studio? He wouldn't care so much. I don't know if.
Yeah,
Because it's a movie I like too.
When you make so many movies like that, they all start to blend together. And if you worked at Helios and made 20 films there, they would all start to sound, and every one of those things, he's a Django, and it's like they start talking.
They all are, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. Every movie he did, they called Django in Germany or whatever. And I mean, pretty soon you're going, I really don't remember. One film's like the other.
Right. Well, I think the same can't be said for The Greatest Kidnapping in the West, Tom.
Oh no, that one stands out. This is the one where Jack Betts is Hunt Powers, and they rob a bank and hide it in a statue, and George gets thrown in prison, and he keeps getting out of prison, going through the rafters and roams around town. And then when they suspect him, he goes back into jail, and he's still in jail. It can't be him.
Right.
Well, the thing I know about this one, it was not, is that there's a fight scene between Erica Blank and I forgot who was the other actress.
Tom knows him. Who's the gal, Tom?
I don't know who the girl would be.
Because cat fights are your specialty, Tom.
Yeah. No, but it's someone who did a lot of stuff. It's not a kind of an extra.
Right.
It's someone. But anyway, they did it for real. Because
they did it for real.
In the director, he was very.
Do it again.
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
All the time. He was having the time of his life, not only with this scene, but all. He was very. Who was the director of it? Who was him? Tom?
You don't have to rack your brain. It's fine.
Oh, the director of this one?
Yeah.
Go back, Jay. It should be on the poster.
It's gone.
It's gone. I don't remember.
Anyway,
I don't have the printouts.
He was having the time of his life.
Well, I would too, seeing Erica Blank fight another gal. So, Poker with Pistols, Tom?
Yeah, this is another, it's an average film. One thing, George Eastman's in this one, so a little bit, I told Jay, I like the films where you've got two main stars, like George Hilton and Franco Nero in The Brute and the Beast or Massacre Time. And this one's got Eastman and Hilton in it. They seem to be better films when you've got two bigger actors in there bouncing off each other. Yep.
And for what I know, I never heard any bad word about George Eastman, that he was really a nice guy to work with. Hilton couldn't remember anything. He couldn't even remember the movie. Oh, yeah,
mm-hmm. Well, maybe that's because he did get along with everybody. Nothing stood out. Like Kinski, Oh, yeah, that madman,
Yeah.
Right.
He is a guy who deserves George Eastman. He deserves a nice work on his career in life, because
he might. Yeah, he's going to be part of we do duo reviews of actors. I think Eastman, we're going to be doing him in a roundup, Tom, right?
Well, yeah, because Eastman also was a writer, and he wrote several scripts for some of even the movies he wasn't in. So he was. Yeah,
and he has vanished. I don't know if he's doing good, if he's all right, if he's.
He just celebrated a birthday, didn't he, Tom?
Yeah, not long ago. Right. I don't know what he does now. If he just retired and does certain things when the mood hits him or what, but I haven't seen him in anything for a while. But again, like Daniel says, he's got to be up there in his late 70s
or early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah.
I was going to tell you, Daniel, that every time before the show comes on, I always say, Tom, first I play you, then I shoot you.
Now these are these films are the comedy ones.
I know,
Tom. And, they go a little bit overboard.
We have a running joke where I'm not a big fan of spaghetti Western comedies or a few other of the genres,
Yeah,
but I like the poster. It's not bad. Some guy getting clunk over the head.
Yeah,
but George Hilton's in a lot of these posters where he's got his feet over a barrel or a desk holding a revolver.
But
once you get into the 70s, they all try and look like Trinity in some way.
Well, it is a
Scruffy
Trinity
clothes,
movie, Tom.
one shoe on, one shoe off, that type of.
Well, Trinity, the clown and a guitar.
Yeah.
It's a German production. I mean, it's a really unforgettable movie. I mean, I saw it once. I couldn't even smile. Then I gave it another chance, and same thing.
You smiled when it took 10 minutes for you to smile this time.
Yeah.
Well, those are the type when you've got nothing else to do and they come on TV, you watch it, or you pop it into the video machine or the DVR, and you go, okay, I'll watch this for a while, But it's not one you go and pull out of the collection and say, boy, this is the one we're going to watch Friday night.
Well, one that you do say you're going to watch Friday night, Tom, with a nice glass of Chardonnay, would be Professionals for a Massacre.
I'll say, there you go.
I love the poster, knife in the head, because I collect posters, Daniel, so I have an affinity for even if the film wasn't that good, I enjoy the poster. This is a classic movie. What do you say?
Red Blood, Yellow Gold, also known as. But this is another one. There's a lot of action, a lot of explosions. They work well together. All three of these guys, George Martin, Ed Burns, and George Hilton. And it's a fun movie.
Yeah, there is a story that George. You remember a scene where a fat girl kisses George Hilton?
Yeah.
Well, he told that fat lady did it for you with tongue, all that stuff.
So you got to
That's a great story.
take advantage of her scene. Oh man, that had to be a surprise for him, right?
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I think George Martin really leaves the character. He would, I mean, he was like that, always that macho stuff. I mean, doing kind of, I don't know if it was like in character or he was like him.
Yeah.
But another film, George couldn't say much thing about besides the story of the kiss.
Right.
I mean, Eddie Burns. I mean, they worked together, but since he spoke no Italian, there was not so contact. I mean, with those foreign actors, American or English, they would stay to themselves, and not everyone who could speak English.
Well, you know what? Ed Cookie. He was combing his hair. You know the song. Maybe Cookie, loan me your comb.
Cookie, lend me your comb. Yeah.
I went to school
that was his big thing, was combing his hair. I mean, I can't do it because I don't have any hair anymore. But
I went to school with his son, and I was playing tennis with Cookie Burns, so that was a trip.
There you go.
Anyway, let's take.
And something funny. It's that even, I mean, in Cookie, the character was so well known that even George referred to him as Cookie.
Oh, really?
His name was
That's
Ed
what he
Burns.
knew him as. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure Ed was thrilled, right?
Yeah. He's trying to break that mold. Yeah.
Right. So let's take. Oh, go ahead. Say something, Daniel.
Another thing Ed said is that, I mean, Hilton would always try to get the best place in front of the camera.
Oh.
I mean,
right. Well, I want to take a little break from the posters and the films and show some of the behind the scenes when you met Hilton and Enzo and Gianni Garco. So let's take a look at our first photo. Let's see what we got. Yeah, there you are.
How tall are you?
That was good times, huh?
Well, I mean,
Are you standing on a box, or is it? I thought George Hilton was pretty tall.
No. Well, I mean, he was 83. So well, now I mean, I don't know how to say it in feet.
Yeah.
But I'm 180. And
Okay.
George, I think it was 85 or 83.
Okay. Because Enzo is about as tall as I am, and I'm 5'8". 5 foot 8 inches, you know. So, and Jay's a little bit taller than me. So, I always thought George Hilton was pretty tall. So I always thought you were more my size. Just I only see you from here, from your
Daniel
chest
6'6". He played for the Brazilian basketball team.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, 180. I think it's 6'6".
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So it looks like you're shooting the documentary. You got a gimbal, which is great.
Yeah.
Gimbal keeps it steady. What were they talking during about for this take?
Oh, I mean, this day, I mean, I've been recording George all day over, and and Garco, he speaks. He likes to speak, and he was talking about something, and George was so tired that he did cut because he couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But they were talking about so many things about. It's amazing how they never did the film together, and they came to meet themselves late in their lives.
Huh.
I mean, they became friends. I mean, in 2007 or.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But they had experiences. They just never worked together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought they did. They didn't make a film together?
No.
Wow. Okay. Someone should do it. Well, they should have done it while George was alive. Daniel, I would have said, you guys, one of you put on a white cowboy hat, you put on a black one. Let's have a short scene, something. Yeah. That's great.
Wow.
Okay, then who do we have here, Daniel?
Melissa Longo.
Melissa Longo.
That's from Macho Killers. Yes. But she didn't start in films. I mean, when I say films, westerns until late either. She wasn't in until the 70s.
Yeah. No.
So she's a little bit younger than the other ones, but she still looks great. Yeah, like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And now she paints. She's still. She's married to the producer of Macho Killers.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she does. She's an artist and a writer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. I think I got one more shot. Oh, let's take a look at the documentary premiere. Where was this, Daniel?
Oh, it was in a beautiful place in Rome. I mean, it was an exhibition, open air, and I could share the stage with Michele Massimo Tarantini, Sergio Martino, Roberto Leone, which is a screenwriter, Ruggero Deodato, that girl I don't remember, she was the host. And that was the kind of pre-film speaking. And
wow!
It was really crowded.
How many people were in attendance? 300, 400, 500?
No, less.
1,000?
No.
No.
I wish. But
it was a packed house, right?
Yeah. Maybe 300.
Nice.
Doreen, that's good.
So all of you participated in a Q&A afterwards?
No, there wasn't a Q&A afterwards because it was so cold. It was so cold there.
Oh, okay.
People were really leaving before the film ended because it was very cold.
Yeah, you can see them. They got jackets on when they stand on the stage. Yeah. The woman's got a coat on. Yeah.
Yeah, but people wasn't expecting that cold that day.
Mm-hmm.
That's because a lot of them left the theater before.
Okay,
how long is the documentary?
Well, it's a long. It's 106 minutes.
Okay, I mean I've seen it, but I don't remember.
Minutes? Yeah. Or 106 minutes.
106 minutes, yeah. For documentary, that's pretty long.
You know,
and then
when you are interested in the subject, I mean, you don't feel the time. But,
I'm sure there's a 3-hour cut, believe me, with all, because you can't put everything in it, as you well know. That's the toughest part about a documentary.
Yeah.
Is you got to cut out.
The best thing about it for me is he's got so many people in it that were part of George's private life and his career that you don't usually see in a documentary. You usually see the main actor, actress, and 2 or 3 supporting people that know him, and that's it. But Daniel's got his ex-wife, his girlfriend, the kids, I mean, whoever he could come up
The
with.
guy who parked his
Just
his
about,
car
yeah,
on
exactly.
massacre
The lot.
time.
Yeah, he does great job of bringing these extra people.
I tried more. I tried Jean Sorrell. I tried Nino Castelnuovo, but he's not doing great. I mean, his health is not so good. Yeah, there would be more people, but
yeah,
it was only myself doing everything in my wife.
Right.
Right. Well, let's talk about a bullet for Sandoval, or these desperate men who smelled of dirt and death. Tom.
Yes, this one's great. Yeah, this is probably my favorite Hilton movie.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's strictly drama. There's no comedy in this at all, but it's a great story where he deserts the army in the Civil War because he's got word that his wife is dying and just gave birth to his son, and he goes back, and of course that they married out of wedlock. So Borgnine kicks him out of the house with a baby, and everywhere he goes, there's a plague going on, and they won't give the baby any food or milk.
Oh man!
And the baby dies, so Hilton just goes berserk and starts his own gang and goes around seeking revenge on all the people that turned him down until he faces Borgnine in the bull ring. And I mean, that's a fantastic scene of them dueling back and forth over the pits where the bulls are right below.
Right.
It's just a fantastic movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and he could remember a lot of things, a lot of things. But
well, tell us the story from this one.
Well, first, I mean, do you guys know if there is a longer version of it?
I've only seen this. The ones I've seen, I don't know if there's a longer version. I think there's something about with the bull ring, but I don't know.
Because I mean, well, there is a lot. For example, for instance, there is Annabella Encontrera. Well, I mean, she's not in the movie. I mean, I don't know if there is a longer version.
That's right. She plays his girlfriend or his wife, right?
Yeah.
But they never show her. Yeah, that's you're right. Yeah, I remember seeing her in the credits. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's
But I've never seen her in film. Right.
And she's a big name. But first, I mean, George had I mean, he really enjoyed working with Julio Books.
Right.
And really working with him because I mean he liked directors who would take care of the actor and also in the character part, in the motivations, in their emotions.
Right.
So I mean and he could still remember that first scene when Borgnine expels him from the house. I mean when he told about the shooting. I mean, his eyes, the way he
yes.
the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I mean, Borgnine was really into it. I mean, you could just see the rage in his face, his eyes bulging out. Yes, yep, I could see that.
And something that Hilton really admired in American actors is their professionalism.
Intensity, yeah.
Yeah, intense. Right.
He would be there, sitting, Borgnine, sympathetic, nice all the time. We'll be there waiting. Okay, Mr. Borgnine, you are on. Do the scene and then turn back.
Yeah.
I mean, very professional. And about the and Books was very. I mean, and Hilton always got killed because there is a scene when they are running, the four of them running from the soldiers in Almeria, but. Hilton's horse went crazy. And instead of going that way, went the other way, went to the hill, and well, they had a very ugly accident. They have to sacrifice the poor horse. Got some bruises.
Well, that's terrible.
Wow. Yeah. And the bull scene. I mean, of course, Borgnine would do it with a fake.
Yeah, the head, right, stuffed head, right.
Yeah,
you couldn't shoot that stuff today.
Well, yeah, but the fighting, you can actually see the bulls moving around down below them. I mean, even if they're doubles, I wouldn't want to be the double walking on that ledge.
That's the mastery of Julio Books. The story is very well told. It's very well made, and I mean, and that ending that ended in something unforgettable.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
In the board,
The
yep.
only problem about this movie is who the hell owns it.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Right. Well, anyway, let's move on to another film that usually I tell Tom this before every show. What do I say to you, Tom? I said, Tom, I'll kill you and recommend you to God.
Oh, there we go. This one I don't. Excuse me. This looks like Stuart Widmark on the poster.
Oh,
It
that's
doesn't look
right.
like George Hilton. It doesn't look
That's
like
true.
John Ireland. So I don't know.
Right. Also known as trusting is good, shooting is better.
Yeah, it's more dramatic. It's not a comedy movie, and I think I've only seen this one once, a long time ago.
In a nasty copy, I suppose. Because
What did George remember this film?
Yes, he remembers a lot. First, because of Sandra Milo, who
Oh,
worked
okay.
with Fellini and everything, and there something happened later on. But first, it's Osvaldo Severani, the director. He was a very famous photographer. So, and he would do everything, the story, production, cinematography, editing, directing, everything. And he did that one, and he did also a Giallo with Carol Baker and Stephen Boyd with Hilton. But the things that George remembered is that John Ireland would always put his hands on Sandra Milo in a way she wouldn't feel comfortable, and and later, very later, it's, in the maybe 5 years ago, Sandra Milo is very well known here in Italy. He's a very, very famous. And she went to television to say that she finally has found real love in George Hilton.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, she was so enamored with him, but only now but life took them
Different
apart.
directions. Mm-hmm.
All crap. It was a stunt, and but Georgia went to do it for fun, for kicks, and
Right.
and it was something corny, seeing Sandra Milo telling, "Oh, now I'm more mature. I can be with the man I really love." And
Well, let's move and talk to, I think, my favorite Hilton film. And that's Massacre Time. And there's an all-star cast: Nero, Hilton, directed by the great Lucio Fulci. Great violence in this film, unrelenting.
All right, is this Hilton's first Western?
Yes. And it's amazing how he got cast, because there was a screen test with, let's say, not a screen test but a test, let's say, with 300 people. He has been selected. So it was a very tiring process. And in what was happening, that George has just arrived in Italy. He suddenly went working, but with very, let's say, low budget films. His wife Marisa was his main supporter. George, Jorge, you must get better roles. You can. You have a career. You had success in Argentinian cinema, because he's Uruguayan. He left Argentina. He became famous.
But they don't know you in Italy, yeah, right.
Yeah, and then came to Italy. For a long time, George did a lot of, how do you call it in English? Fotonovela,
soap opera.
But with photos, magazine.
Oh, photo romances
they
and
did
stuff.
that a lot with a lot of spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
He did it a lot in Argentina and in Italy. He would even direct some photo romances.
Yep.
And anyway, he got the part, it was not shot in Italy. It was shot in Manziana, which is a place near Rome, and of course it was not a big production. And what is fun, I came to interview Franco Nero later. The movie will have a Nero interview, and he said that who was supposed to do the brother's role was Nino, but he was so tired of, I mean, that film with Catherine Deneuve was there. He wanted some different,
right?
So he went to do the crazy villain, and they had to find a guy to
replace him. Yeah, to do the brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was no one. I mean, Hilton. Well, Nero is very discreet, but Fulci was really difficult to work with.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
they had some issues.
Mhm.
And anyway, but I asked him, but the film was so good. I mean, it was a hit. Why you didn't work together afterwards? And he told me he told me that on the same day that we were shooting with Garco, George started dating a girl who Fulci was in love with. So
there you go. There you go. That into that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was quite a hit. I mean, even Michelangelo Antonioni, after watching the movie, wanted to cast George for a project. George told me it was that one where, how to say in English, The Passenger, with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, but the producers wanted a bigger name, so instead of George, they casted Jack.
They hired me.
There's something strange because The Beauty and the Beast is from 66.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an early one. Yeah, 66. Yep.
Yeah, The Passenger is 75. So I don't know if it was the project would come earlier, or if George has mistaken the
Probably.
But I don't know.
Well, maybe if The Passenger would have been made in 66 or 67, maybe.
Yeah, that's what he said. If it had been made earlier, yeah.
Right.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Antonioni has seen it in I don't know, in a.
Oh, I see. Maybe he saw it later. I saw it. Antonioni saw it later. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's.
Yeah.
But what's fun is that he asked, but excuse me, but how come you, Michelangelo Antonioni, went to watch The Beauty and the Beast? Oh, I wanted to relax. So
we all relax with The Brute and the Beast. So let's talk about Hilton's last spaghetti list. Or is it his last? No, I don't know if it's his last. I'm sorry, I have it wrong on my list. Anyways, the last of our list.
This is Guns for Dollars. This is the one, like, I love the title we use sometimes, Daniel. It's called Heads You Die, Tails I Kill You. I first saw it on TV. I mean, I got to watch this with that.
Tom, Heads I Kill You, Tails You're Dead. They call me
Hallelujah. Sorry.
That's what the poster says, Tom.
Okay, well, they said Heads You Die, Tails I Kill You on TV.
Yeah,
they didn't put Hallelujah in there.
You have to put Hallelujah in there.
This is the one with the sewing machine that spits bullets.
Yeah. And anyway, we can say, I mean, George made 3 film franchises: Kitosh,
right,
Alleluia, and Dick Love, Tresette.
Right. Yeah.
But Alleluia was quite a hit. And there is something funny because there is a Facebook group called Alleluia.
Really?
Of George Hilton.
Uh-huh.
and Facebook was something amazing for Hilton because he wasn't aware he was still so much loved and admired by people.
That's
Oh yeah,
amazing.
he was. I spoke to him for. We went back and forth for a minute.
People contacting him and talking to him, and
Yeah, well, I was one of them.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah, we're
What
one
I
of
do
them.
is Google Translate is my best friend, Tom.
Yeah, I do that. I use it all the time too.
So that's how I contact some of these spaghetti Western people. I don't dare do it in English.
Right.
Yeah, but very. I think almost none of them speak
You think they do because they were dubbed.
Yeah, well, I'm like Jay. I don't really like the comedy movies, but I love this one. I love this one. I mean, it's just so clever, and I mean, it's he's popping in and out of windows, and he feeds them the gruel, and they have diarrhea, and it's like
yikes!
It's over the top,
and
but it's
also,
funny.
and there's something fun because it's very well made.
Yes.
I mean,
Good production values. Yep.
I mean, the pacing and the sewing machine became an icon.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It works very well.
Just like Django's in a coffin, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And there is also, I mean, in the writing is so clever because I mean, that's a movie that they call a Zapata Western.
Yeah, Zapata Western. Yeah, right.
But made in a very fun way.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess that does it for our first part of
I want to ask Daniel one question while we're on here.
Okay.
Did he? Let me find it here. Maybe it's not this one. There was a film made. Oh shoot! I'm not even going to ask him. I don't find it here on my list. There was something that he was. I think it's Anthony Steffen that I'm thinking of. So we'll get to it when we do Anthony Steffen.
Yeah, you didn't take your pills this morning, Tom.
No, I didn't. You're fired again. She didn't give me my pills, Jay.
Let me present you, my little Giorgio.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep. That's
Tom
okay.
and I will speak among ourselves.
I just saw it. It is a Anthony Steffen question I've got.
Okay.
He was supposed to have made some TV series back in
his kid for a
well,
minute.
he's supposed to appear in some TV series in the late 70s that Gordon Mitchell told me about. And we can't find anything about it, so I thought maybe he would know by talking to Anthony Steffen, but I doubt it. He wouldn't have brought it up.
Well, yeah, now it's time for our Anthony Steffen section, Tom. Great actor, was in a lot of movies, probably one of the more prolific ones where he was the star.
Oh, yeah.
You name it, from Stranger Impossible Bravo to Hanging for Django to Dallas.
Daniel told me when he was doing the book that they talked to Eduardo Fajardo on the phone because Eduardo lived in Madrid, I think, at that time. Maybe he had moved down to Almeria, because if you watch the filmography...
Hey, hi, Giorgio.
Eduardo Fajardo is in almost every Anthony Steffen Western. Isn't that right? Yeah. So you talked to him. Yeah.
Yeah. And Steffen would say he was a real gentleman and very talented. And even in Hilton would say the same thing about him, because they did a giallo together. But people in the business now, I mean, they had some reservations because they say that Fajardo was some kind of connected with the Franco government. So
the story goes that he was the head of the Spanish Actors Union.
Yeah.
So when all these films came over there, he got first look at them to hire all these people. So, and Fernando Sancho was Eduardo Fajardo's best friend. And so that's why you see either Eduardo Fajardo or you see Fernando Sancho in so many of the Spanish-made Westerns. That was the story.
Well, thank you, Tom, for that. That's appreciative.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Anthony Steffen right now and his films and his importance to the genre. And then, of course, you did the only book on him. And let's show there it is. What's the title, Daniel?
It's in English would be the story of the Brazilian that became a spaghetti Western star.
But what is it? Okay, what is it in Portuguese?
A saga do brasileiro que se tornou astro do bang bang à italiana.
And where is it available for our fans who want to know?
I mean, I think it's everywhere.
I checked it out. It's on Amazon. They had 3 copies as of this morning.
Well, all of you out there are going to have to fight for it in Spaghetti Western land.
Now, if you want the English translation,
watch the show for the next 3 hours.
Daniel says that Ulrich Bruckner is bugging him about it. So you guys go bug Ulrich Bruckner and see if he'll translate it.
Right.
I have it in English already. I mean,
do you really?
Okay, well, I know you're sending me an advanced copy. Yeah. That's for sure.
Every time I see him, every time I see Daniel someplace or posting or whatever, I always ask him how the English translation is coming along.
And how is it coming along?
Yeah, but I mean, I have to do some rewriting because so many. I was able to find so many stuff later.
Yeah.
His earlier movies, things that I mean.
Well, Last Tomahawk, stuff like that.
No, that was fine. I mean, the only one that I couldn't find is one called Siete Chacales, 7 Jackals.
7 Jackals, yeah.
That's not even on my list.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay.
There is an accept of it on YouTube, but it was
really
okay.
Yeah.
Well, as we show the
a Spanish production, I think Johnny Garco is in it, and had the Miss Spain, Maria Lucia Cataldo. No, well, anyway,
Tom, you dated her back in college, Tom.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask Daniel
to do frontal nudity in Spanish cinema.
I'm gonna ask you my Anthony Steffen question. He was this came from Gordon Mitchell. Supposedly they were in a TV series called Tales of the West in 1979. I know nothing more than that. No, never brought up. Okay.
Oh, wow, that would be great to have.
Yeah.
So
I think it was it could have been clips of their old westerns.
Probably.
Just put together or whatever. I don't know.
It's
I just thought Daniel may have run across it. Okay.
So Daniel, let me ask you, as we show, I'm going to show our first poster for a coffin for Sheriff. When did you meet him, and how did you go about writing the book?
Well, first, I mean, that was really fun because Fabio Veloso, my friend, he saw an Antonio de Tefé on the phone book. Remember, they used it to a phone book.
Yeah, phone book.
What's that?
Antonio de Tefé, or Tef is his real name. Yeah,
exactly.
Anyway, there was this Antonio de Tefé. Oh my. Is he the one? He wasn't supposed to be died. He wasn't supposed to have died or living in Italy. Anyway, Fabio called him that tone voice. Hello. Had froze him, and anyway, it was him, and it took a lot of calls to gain his confidence, because first Antonio would think that Fabio and me, we were robbers trying to gain his confidence so he could invite
con man. Yeah, con man. Yeah.
But anyway, so that's how our kind of friendship began. And the first idea was a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
But he was very preoccupied with his looks. He was a vanity above all. And
wow.
He he was not doing well with a lung cancer. So I mean, the idea couldn't go. Anyway, we started this relationship. I mean, about talking, but went out with him, and I mean he did some sessions of chemotherapy. I think the cancer really had vanished, but then it came back stronger, and he couldn't make it. But why I'm telling that? Because that was what I think, what I said about you can't wait.
Right,
Because
right.
I mean
You
have
never
to do it.
know. Yep.
No, there was a desperation. You had to explain to him that I'm a big fan. I'm an author, and let's get your story of from beginning to all your films. And in my position, because I'm also an author, as you well know, Tom, that if you meet the subject of your book, sometimes, as Daniel say, they don't could care less. And I'm not talking about Anthony Steffen. I'm talking about anybody in general.
Sure.
What's in it for me? How much does it pay? Which makes sense. They're used to making money for a living. I'm going to give you hours of my time. What are you paying me?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd be able to pay. Another time, I tell Lisa Vala's story, Daniel.
Yeah,
He used to live in a big hotel. Let me tell you, he lived in a big hotel, and this falls into the same category. And Telly would not do an interview unless you paid him.
Yeah, but that's something American because here in Italy it's kind of different. There was this actress who worked with George Hilton. She lives in LA now, and I wanted to interview her. And okay, how much? No,
How much?
no, I mean, not so directly, but I mean, hey, she wanted money. Okay, I realize. I mean, I think they deserve to get paid, but unfortunately, I had no money because
at that time, or you would have probably.
Yeah. Because but the people don't understand that. You think that there are a lot that this hunch crowd of movie fans or executives who are interested in keeping the story alive. No, there's not. But I mean, people couldn't care less. I mean, with the life of Antonio in Hilton, I wanted to do a panorama of a kind of cinema. But since it was not Fellini or Rossellini or De Sica or Visconti, it's still considered, even with all the Tarantino buzz, it's still considered to be movies. They call those movies
It's the stigma spaghetti westerns has, I think, unfortunately.
The select audience.
Exactly.
Oh no. Anyway, let's talk about The Stranger in Paso Bravo. Actually, I was going to make a comment as Anthony Steffen is one of my favorite actors. Reason why is because I always thought he played himself in these, like we say, bigger than life. John Wayne, James Cagney, Clint Eastwood. Always the soft spoken. Tom always says at least minimum one barroom fight.
Yeah, he gets beat up in almost every film he made. Yeah,
it's almost part of his character. He has to get beat up before he could seek revenge.
And his fight scenes when he gets beat up is Jay would hit him and he'd push him over to me, and I would hit him.
And then you would hit him and then push him over to Daniel, like a circle of punches.
Circle of punches, yeah. And I also said he wore two hats. He wore a hat like Clint Eastwood, and that was always going to be a fight movie. If he wore the Django dark black hat, that was going to be gunfighting.
Anyway, I mean, if you needed a kind of heroic, good guy figure, you would call Young Gemma. If you need a kind of ironic, more lighter tone, you would call Hilton. They all have their kind of
little niche. Yep.
figure.
Yep.
When you needed the tragic Avenger,
right?
That's Steffen was perfect for it.
Yep.
And I mean, and his second Western established that because okay, his first was The Last Tomahawk. I mean, okay, it was shot in Almeria, but it was a German production, and when it came out, there was already for a fistful of dollars who changed everything, the way of of watching a Western. So
Yeah,
that's because
Last Tomahawk was more like the German Winnetou films. It was taken from Last of the Mohicans. So, I mean, what could you do with the character? You know, his character came out of a book. So he could only modify it so much. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, but when you see, but then when he did in English, is it Why Go On Killing? Or
Why Kill Again? Yep. Why Kill Again?
Why Kill Gilligan?
That established his figure of the tragic avenger,
right?
Who has always been beaten, and of course it was not there for fiscal benefits. It was directed by Eduardo José Antonio de la Loma, but who really directed was Eduardo Mularja.
Mularja,
yeah, and it has Evelyn Stewart, who is always fantastic to look at, and our great friend José Calvo, that this time instead of the good guy from For a Fist of Dollars, it's a heavy.
Right.
Right.
So I was going to ask you, Daniel, like I did with Hilton, you sat down with him. Did he remember some films better than others?
Look, he couldn't care less for the Westerns. For him, his only good role in the film he was better was a giallo called The Crimes of the Black Cat, which he plays a blind composer. I mean, but
that's understandable. That's understandable, Daniel. That some of these, like I said, I've come across, and when Steffen has been in so many cross genres, you're right. He's not just going to think about his spaghetti. We're the spaghetti Western fans. We might be open to some of their giallos or spy films, or sword and sorcery, or sandal and sword. But we're the connoisseurs of the spaghetti Western. So I can see how sometimes, he would say, wait a minute. Yeah, I made, 25 spaghetti Westerns, but I also made, 8 giallo, and I also made, some secret agent movies. So yeah, I could understand that kind of mindset.
Yeah, but what it's real fun, because he had just done The Last Tomahawk, where you see a lot of familiar faces like Frank Brania, Rafael Hernandez, Chris Huerta, a lot of people from Spanish actors that are there all the time. But Antonio, he had a vision, because first he knew Sergio Leone. Sergio Leone was second unit director of Sodom and Gomorrah, and other things that Antonio did. For a Fistful of Dollars came out, it was such a huge success that Antonio made photos of himself with a sombrero, with all the Eastwood outfit,
the poncho and everything. Yeah.
He trained his draw apartment, and he did the photos with some heavy makeup, because he was 35 when in 1965. He was 35. He would look 45, because he would put makeup to look older, sun-tanned, and then he went to the agents, showing himself as available for this new kind of film that was making big bucks at the box office. So
I wonder how many spaghetti Western stars did that. Actually, okay, this is what's hip, this is what's happening. Because in America, I would think in the 70s and 80s, a lot of actors, they all look the same, 6'4", Tom Selleck looks, and then they'd go to the studios, and there'd be 100 guys waiting to read. Maybe in Italy, it's a little different, where you put on the hat, you get in the character and go, listen, I'm available to do this new thing that's happening. And look what happened. Obviously, they took to him, right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Well, that's why they call him the Italian Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, and
what
copied it is that George Hilton told me that they would do films with stuntmen, but they couldn't act. So they needed people who could act.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Franco Nero came, like the Juliano Gemma. I mean, they knew how to move, but they could act. So that's why they became such idols. And after Blood at Sundown went that well, I mean, he knew who had people could trust him
Right.
as a
As a lead actor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Right.
and I mean, and it's at the same time it's something complex, but it's something simple because Antonio knew a lot of people. For instance, Eduardo Mularja, um, um, I mean, he wrote some Sword and Sandals that Antonio worked. So when he went to direct Blood at Sundown, Why Kill Again, he knew who to
Bring
who to
in.
call. And
Right. Yep.
yeah, and I mean, and not only Mularja, it's also what was the name of Vincenzo Mussolini? Remember him?
Right.
Yeah, he also worked with in Sword and Sandals, and he so he would call also Antonio, and I mean it was the mouth to mouth. You have to have the stuff. You could I mean, you must carry the movie. You must have
Mm-hmm.
that star quality that he had, and also George. But it's all dependent on who you know. And Vincenzo Mussolino has something interesting because he was very important in bringing to the Italian Western two other Brazilians. That it was Celso Faria, who worked in Stranger's Gundown, and
Right.
the beautiful mulata Esmeralda Barros, who starred in Viva Django. So, I mean, if you put Vincenzo Mussolino e Demócrito Fidani, I mean, who you can say it's a better director?
Right. Right.
Right. Let's take a minute to, I know I'm just going by the posters as we're talking. I want to spend a second to talk about, I think, one of the important films in his career, and it's a good Django film, Django the Bastard.
Yeah.
The Stranger's Gundown, Tom.
Yeah, that's become a cult favorite.
Tell us about why you think it is.
Well,
Tom.
Oh, well, because it's sort of a gothic horror film. You don't know whether he's a ghost, if he's still alive. The story was, remember, that Clint Eastwood bought the rights to this, and that's where High Plains Drifter came from. American version of is he a ghost? Is he a vengeful angel? What is he? Is he dead or alive? But and you see Steffen playing this like a normal person, and then all of a sudden he just turns around and he's gone. You're like, where did he go? But then he'll bleed, and it's like, what? The concept of is he real or is he a ghost goes through the entire film, and he basically scares these people to death before he shoots them. They're just on edge all the time.
Right.
And have you noticed some very particular thing in Stranger's Gundown? I mean, how do they call it in America? Stranger's Gundown, Jungle.
Probably.
How do they call there?
I call it Django the Bastard.
It was released over here as The Stranger's Gundown.
Right.
You know, but the scene I love is when he plants that cross in front of the guy's house, and the guy looks out, he's got his name and the date on it of when he's going to die.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I mean, that just didn't happen. You'd call him out for a gunfight, but you'd never put a cross in front of somebody's house with her name and date on it.
But could you notice something very unusual in a Western movie? That is when the protagonist is never near a horse,
That's
never
true.
rides a horse, because Antonio was terrified of horses.
Horses, really?
Since he has written the movie, he was careful enough to don't include any horse scene in the.
I'll have to look for that. Do you think that he had stunt doubles do writing for him?
No, he did a lot.
He did his own writing. Okay.
Yeah, he almost got killed when shooting the first poster. And you put there, Jay, a coffin for the sheriff.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, he was hiding. No, he had just mounted, but I don't know what happened. He fell down, and the horse fell over
On him?
Wow.
Andalusian horse, which are very big.
Yeah, big. Yeah, very big. Yeah.
So I mean, they had to quit filming for some days so he could get better. But
recovered. Wow.
Terrified.
I'll have to look for that. I never thought about that, but you're right. Most of the scenes I remember him in, there's no horses around. That's right.
Wow. You know what? I'll have to go back and that's amazing. That's very.
Or if he rides a horse, he'll dismount here, and then all the action takes the.
Or he dismounts
away
from
the
above
horses.
the waist, Tom. You don't see
Yeah,
it,
it could
perhaps.
be. Yeah, we'll see.
Or a stuntman.
Yeah, but something I don't believe is that that Eastwood bought the rights. That I mean, it's very strange. Movie so similar with all.
So Daniel, you don't think Clint did it? He don't think he went through the proper channels? He just lifted the story?
I don't know, because, well, the idea.
It's similar, but it's different.
Yeah, but when you have a story, and you have who is the screenwriter of Eastwood? Ernest Tiedman, the one who did the French Connection, who won an Oscar, I think, for. Antonio never told me anything about licensing the property or.
Well, Daniel, my impression of it.
I think a lot of times, Jay, is someone will see a movie and they'll say, "Oh, that reminds me exactly of so and so." I bet you he got the idea from, or whatever. And I mean, it's just someone making it up.
Well, no, that story's been floating around for years, where Eastwood lifted that. But yeah. I've told Tom before, being a film director myself, and when I'm working on a spaghetti western, it'll probably be done hopefully in 30 years. But it's not unusual to want to borrow here and there little bits and pieces, whether it's fantasy or it's a cult. What is it? Django Kill First, Django Kill. Like, that's really strange. So they decide to throw everything in the kitchen sink. So I'm just saying, it's not unusual for a spaghetti western to borrow from another one. I mean, we're not going to see the last of it. I'm sure there'll be another Ghostly Avenger.
Sure.
I just hope it's not a White Fang movie, Tom.
Well, Pale Rider is like that. Again, a guy comes out of the hills. Is he a ghost? Is he real? You never know.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, you are AJ. You are showing Dead Men Don't Count.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Anyway, let me add two stories about William Berger and Anthony Steffen.
Okay.
And I had a lot to say about how do they call $1 million sul negro in English?
$7 to Kill, or On the Red.
Yeah, that one I had a lot to sell. But Berger and Antonio did two films together, and I think the first one was directed by Mario Caiano, and there was the scene where Antonio had to cross a bridge
Yes, right.
But, well, he was terrified of the roars, and safety was not an issue on those questions.
Right.
Anyway, it took, and Berger was in the other side, waiting. I mean, they had to do first his scene, walking through the bridge, and then riding through the bridge, and then Antonio's. Anyway, Antonio was talking to Caiano. No, I want to do it. Anyway, they spent almost 2 hours discussing, and Caiano had to shut down the shooting for this day. And Berger told in an interview that he got so angry that he crossed the bridge on horse just to ask them, what the hell?
He rode back across the bridge to ask what's going on over here.
And he was dead afraid of crossing the bridge too.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Yeah, but on the other movie, I mean, Nicoletta Machiavelli told me that they were arguing probably about the script, Berger and Antonio, but who he told was shouting, screaming was Berger, not Antonio. He said Antonio,
really?
Always a gentleman, very, very, I mean, polite, and sympathetic, and Berger would be the crazy one.
Yeah, he could have had a bad day on his drugs.
Yeah, and when I asked Antonio about the story, and his opinion about Berger, he just said, "Drug addict."
Forget it. Okay.
Junkie.
Wow.
Allora, a film that deserves a lot of recognition is $7 to Kill.
Okay.
First, it's I mean, it's the tragic figure of Antonio. The high doses of melodrama, the same melodrama of Douglas Sirk. And you see that the producer pseudonym is Marlon Circo.
Okay.
Mario Siciliano. He signs as Marlon Circo. And that scene that explains the title, when Fernando Sancho kills Steffen's wife
and throws the dollars down, right,
on her red dress. I mean, that's so good.
I love this film because, I mean, the music is great. There's three main themes: Jerry's theme, Johnny's theme, and blah blah. But the ending is just fantastic in the rain, that he does not want to face his son in the street, and he does everything he possibly can to talk him out of doing this. And Fernando has raised him to be an outlaw, and he turns his back on his own father, and he's forced to kill his son. I mean, him holding him in the mud with the rain is just fantastic scene.
Beautiful. And Garco told us something funny about the working relationship of director Alberto Cardone and producer Mario Siciliano. Siciliano was a very present producer. He would suggest a lot of stuff. He would even direct some scenes, while Cardone was more preoccupied with the technical, the setting and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Together, they worked together, and they also did. I mean, that would be a trilogy about biblical psalms.
Mm-hmm.
As $7 to Kill is the prodigal son. They did a reinterpretation of Cain and Abel with $1 million.
That's right.
Right. Let me just say real quick, Daniel. I showed $1,000 on the black.
Yes.
I always confuse $7 on the red and $1,000 on the black. So forgive me. I think I showed the wrong poster. But let's see if I can show the right one. Just a minute. Okay, here we go.
Blood at Sundown also. That's it.
Yeah. So that's the film we've been discussing, where Daniel's been telling us a couple of stories. I showed Blood at Sundown, which is, he made 2 films called Blood at Sundown, right, Tom?
Right.
Which is
Why
very
Kill Again? Yeah, exactly.
Couple of spaghetti western films always have the same title, and it throws us historians a loop. But just wanted to set that straight.
That's something funny because you see all the, let's say, cannibalism of the Italian filmmakers, because they would consume influence of films all around. I mean, because you see something of the Searchers. I mean, that seeking of a relative. It's just like John Wayne looking for Natalie Wood.
Sure.
And also that melodrama, that strange feeling between father and son is just like the Mildred Pierce or Imitation of Life, which is a Douglas Sirk melodrama.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can see a lot of how those Italians, they got all that things. They ate and they threw up on their
Right. Got these ideas from different films they'd seen over the years, and make a Western out of it, or whatever they wanted to do. But you'd see aspects of it, and you'd say, "Oh, that reminds me of such and such a film." Right. Well, they all loved film. I mean, that's where they came from.
Yeah,
most of those directors, they grew up on film. So.
Right. Let's go ahead, Daniel.
No, and about in the second chapter of that biblical
the trilogy,
which is $1,000. How do you say Blood at Sundown? $1 million.
Blood at Sundown.
Anyway, I mean,
Daniel, is there a door you could close? Like, we're having trouble hearing you.
I hear Giorgio.
Go ahead, we'll wait for you. I've been there too, Tom, so have you.
Me too, I've been there.
When it's a diaper change, it's a diaper. First time we're going to mention diaper change.
It's almost midnight there, so
After 19 shows. But anyway, no, he's absolutely right. Is he okay?
Sorry. But,
is it nap time?
He doesn't like cold pizza, does he?
Yeah, I tried the wine. But anyway, on Blood at Sundown, I mean, first, Johnny Garco steals the show with his Sartana, and he told us that he constructed the character based on Richard Widmark's Tommy Udo from
The Killers, yeah? Yep.
Yeah.
Tom Udo, yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean,
wow.
And also the explanation of the title when Sartana puts the pearl necklace over in the neck of the mother over her black dress. That's because the Italian title works so good. $1 million sul nero, $1,000 on the black.
On the black, yeah.
Yeah, which is also a kind of both movies plays with the roulette stuff.
Right.
And what is also fun is that Cardone and Siciliano, they wanted to do a trilogy of biblical inspiring movies. But since the duo separated themselves, any of them did a movie kind of closing the thing.
Gotcha.
Prodigal Son, Cain and Abel, and
right.
The third one.
Well, Daniel, let's talk about one of my favorite Steffen movies, A Few Dollars for Django.
Yeah.
One of my favorite posters, by the way.
Beautiful.
And he did a lot of the thing about, I was going to say earlier, since I am an avid poster collector, when Anthony Steffen is in a movie, he's figured prominently on the poster, which is nice. So are other people too. I mean, that's safe to say. But when you're watching the promotional materials for a Steffen movie, it's usually just him and a gun, or he's spinning the chambers, or he's on his back shooting, or in like a tequila pose. Something like, was he, I don't know if that's a weird question. Did you ever talk to him about posters or how he used to pose for them or anything?
He lived in a very nice apartment in the, let's say it would be the Beverly Hills of Rio de Janeiro. And he have this wall of his apartment full of posters.
Nice.
Of him. But it's fun because he wouldn't say so many nice things about the movies, but
he liked the artwork.
Yeah.
Just like me, we would have got along just fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, and he was very, very concerned about his looks. He told a story with Fernando Sancho in $7 to Kill that there is a fight scene between the two of them, and Sancho was hitting for real.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying, "Oh, take it easy, Fernando. No, easier." Anyway, Antonio got pissed and knocked him out. I mean, Sancho went sleeping for at least 10 minutes. and then on the other movie, on the Blooded Sundown, he was already a star. He had already a 10-year career after him. But Garco, it was his first Western, and Antonio was kind of worried that such an experienced guy could hit him.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right.
Was the experience. Right.
What did Anthony have to say about Shango?
Well, anything. But I mean, you see how prolific was his partnership with Eduardo Mulagia, and what is first, because for such vanity, for a guy so much concerned with his looks, in Shango, he looks the worst on his career, like a beggar. And
you know what I said, Daniel? I said he looked like a Jesus figure.
And you see, I mean, the little boy who helps him. You know that boy story.
Well, if it doesn't take too long.
Was that is that the terrorist?
Yes.
Yeah. He just got out of prison like 5 years ago or so. Yeah. They killed some cops at train station.
Okay. Yes, Tom. We told that story. Let's keep it family. Let's keep it G.
Yeah, we know that one.
We always remember when as a kid I saw Shango where he's in the cage hanging from the tree. Right, Tom? That's how that stuck in my mind. I saw that one of my first.
And the whole credits are over him spinning around in the.
Right.
You get dizzy watching the opening credits. Yeah.
One of the first spaghetti westerns that I ever saw. So that's a nice introduction to the genre.
It's amazing. In every Steffen movie, Steffen Western, he's beaten badly. I mean, even in Django the Bastard, I mean, he always suffered a lot.
Right. What's confusing is he made a film called, this one, The Man Who Cried for Revenge, and he also made a film called Cry for Revenge. So, not to be confused, right, Tom?
Yeah, exactly. Here we go again, yeah.
Right. Now, the only reason I know is because when Tom sends me the breakdown, I look at who he's playing. So if I can see it's a different character, then I know it's a different movie.
Yeah, if his character name is different, it's a different movie, yeah. Right. Sometimes I'll be off a year and have the same title. Yep.
Awesome poster, once again on the ground shooting upwards.
Yeah, that one is the movie which Berger told the story of the bridge.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the LP I have has the bridge in it with their heads down below with the horse going across. Yeah.
And Anthony looks great in this poster. Let's see, we got another one coming up here. As you can see, I love posters, Daniel.
but
Most
it's
of these are
amazing.
from my own collection. Others have been
Oh, fortunate, very fortunate, Jay.
have been bought. Thank you. Let's take a look.
Train for Durango.
He had some very nice things to say about Matt Damon, and Dominique Bosquero told us some nice stories about its shooting. First, because I mean, it's a very it's a funny Zapata Western, and it's almost a Communist Party reunion because Mario Caiano, Enrico Maria Salerno, and I mean a lot of guys on the crew and cast were communists. Dominique say that while not shooting, Enrico Maria Salerno would be preaching about communism and all that stuff.
all they needed was Jean Maria Volante.
So would be.
They don't
that was
forget
the only
that.
answer you could have given.
But it's a fun movie. I mean, it's a kind of a very pre-Trinity about and I like that one better than the other Mark Damon film he did.
Oh, okay. And then of course, let's not forget Tequila, Tom.
Yeah, that's how he almost looks like. He looks like Hilton in this one.
Right. Well,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuzzy the hero. Fuzzy
the
hero.
hero. Yeah, same thing. Yep.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, Antonio, he was not that explicit, but is that the one that he shoots through the chicken?
Yeah.
That is.
It's a kind of, I mean, you could see it's a kind of bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and then let's see. Let's move on. We have 3 more to show. I'm actually a big fan of Apocalypse Joe. What did Anthony think of that?
Oh yeah.
Well, first because I mean, he did that Hamlet monologue. Is that
Daniel? Everybody that I've talked to would have loved to have just had him do the monologue while the credits are rolling instead of the music playing.
Yeah, and when he found out that it was that they put the music over, he only said, "Son of a bitch."
yeah. So, I kept hoping too when it started that the music would just cut out because he's carrying the skull around playing Hamlet, and I was hoping that he would finish up with at least part of it, but no. They play the music over the whole thing.
Yeah,
great scene.
Because Antonio did a lot of theater. I mean, he went on tour with Bernard Shaw. Doing plays with Bernard Shaw, and he was an accomplished actor.
Sure.
I mean, if he was just called to do, I mean, because people always say, "Oh, that wooden actor," but the part required.
That's a style. You actually have to try to do that. I mean, to talk that way, and it's obviously also a takeoff on the Clint's The Stranger. I mean, anybody who has 2 eyes and an ears knows, but it's his own way. He did it his own. I mean, you don't say that's someone doing Clint Eastwood. You go, oh, that's an Anthony Steffen film. You already know it because he's his own man.
When I told Antonio about but did the producers ask you to imitate Clint Eastwood? But it was so easy. You just had to stand there.
Okay, go ahead.
And there's something else about A Train for Durango that I forgot.
Okay.
That scene when he and Salerno are, I mean, they bury them with just the
up their heads,
and the horses go all around.
Right.
They did it themselves.
Oh my God. And he was scared of horses anyways, right? So, great.
And when I asked Antonio, "But Antonio, were you crazy?" Oh, I mean, I had to gain each day's bread.
Oh, wow.
Well, let's. I was going to. We have one last poster to discuss, and it's actually
about the last one, that Viva Django. The nice thing is that it has also another Brazilian in the cast, beautiful Esmeralda Barros, who think Antonio was so snob.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did she know him? Did she know him before he went to Italy?
No, because I mean, Antonio grew up in Italy.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Hilton. I'm sorry. You're right.
I mean, but
it's only the Hilton Steffen show, Tom.
Yes, it's the opposite. Hilton went from Brazil to Italy, and Steffen came back. Yeah, there we go.
It's a lot of South American blood. But anyway, what both Antonio and George, they lived and enjoyed La Dolce Vita Italiana. And it was really something amazing being there, all that places. And I mean, on the same desk would be Pasolini, on the other one would be Giuliano Gemma, and all people there. And remember on Django the Bastard, when there is a scene in the when you see the character in the war holding a dead soldier, I mean a soldier that died. It was a Brazilian, Celso Faria, who went to work a lot with Demófilo Fidani and other stuff and other guys.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, they would help them to get the parts. But I think with Esmeralda she was already known there because of beautiful mulata and everything. But she had a story with Benito Stefanelli while doing that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's. I think we have one more Anthony Steffen poster to show. That's Sabata the Killer. Dollars to Die For. Tom, what do you think about this film?
It's another semi-comedy. It's okay. Again, it's more of the he's got the Eastwood hat on, so there's a lot of punching and fighting and stuff like that.
I didn't know Vincent Price was in this movie, Tom.
It looks like.
I'm not in it, Jay.
Yeah, well, but
Squinting. That's supposed to be Fajardo.
Right.
Yeah, but is that the one with Peter? He did 2 films with Peter Lee Lawrence, where Lawrence is a psychopath.
Oh, that's right. The other one was.
We reviewed that film.
The other one was Garingo.
Garingo, yes. Which is
where he plays the soldier. Yeah.
And which is a very kind of changing of place, as Peter Lee Lawrence was always the good-looking hero. I mean, being a sadistic soldier killer.
Exactly, a psycho. Yep.
Right. So, well, basically, we've covered the films, the spaghetti western films of George Hilton and Anthony Steffen, and we usually have other segments that we do on the show. I don't know if you have anything. You have any spaghetti western books next to you besides your own, Daniel?
Yes.
It could be in Portuguese. It doesn't matter. There he goes. So anyway, hold on to it for a sec. Hold on to it for a second, because we do a segment called Book of the Week. So we're going to get to that. Tom, you have any? Wait, not yet. It's funny. I actually showed that, I think, week 2. So we have the same book. Tom, any last questions regarding the careers of either George or Anthony?
No, he didn't know about the Rogue Western, so he's not the expert he thinks he is. So I'll let him skate this time.
Yeah, you can skate, Daniel.
Poor Daniel.
So that's fine. So we have 3 segments that we do at the end of every show. It's Book of the Week, Autograph of the Week, and LP of the Week. I usually join in one of them, but we're going to do Book of the Week. I guess now that it's time, go ahead, Daniel. Show us what your Book of the Week is. Il Western all'Italiana. That's the dictionary.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
a
I don't
kind
know
of,
if I have that one.
it's
I don't
more
think you do, Tom.
a photo book.
But it's got some info. Yeah, it's a great. It's a little
Yeah.
small. It's
Yeah.
good for. It's good banyo reading.
I don't
Yeah.
have that one. I know what he's talking about, but I don't have that one.
It's very thick.
Yep.
I've got it myself.
Do you?
Expensive too.
Did you get it overseas?
I did.
Yeah.
So what do you like about it, Daniel? The pictures?
Well, it's a kind of a complementary thing to. I mean, it's not the thing that you need if you want to get to know the spaghetti western, but it gives you images that that you put names on faces. So it's quite useful for who admire the genre and who is kind of starting to move around.
Right.
And it's very and everything is there.
Yeah, no, it's a small photo book, and it does that. It's for completists only, and Daniel and I are completists. Tom, what's your book of the week?
Well, I'm gonna be lazy.
Oh my God, how tough!
I'm gonna use this one. I think you've heard of it.
The Life and Times of Anthony Steffen.
Anthony Steffen, yep, by Daniel Camargo, Fabio
I've heard of
Veloso, Rodrigo Pereira. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Publisher by
Tom,
Matrix.
talk for a second as I get my book. Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay. Published by Matrix in 2007. It's in Portuguese, but Daniel says he's got an English version coming if we can talk Ulrich into paying for it. And like I said, I looked up on Amazon today, and they had 3 copies, and they're around $20 or something like that. And I mean, it's Amazon US.
Okay.
So it's available here.
My microphone will only go 10 feet. My book
is 11.
Is 11 feet away. So
Fire Gertrude again.
It happens. It happens.
Oh, well.
Anyway, that's fine. So let's get to autograph of the week, and I guess I can partake in that. Let's see what we got. Here we are. So you know the story. That's from Adios Sabata, Yulbrunner. I mostly get autographs firsthand from the Spaghetti Western star themselves, or I'll get it from a manager or an agent or a relative or someone they worked with, because I want to have a closeness to the autograph. Occasionally I will go on one of those auction sites when you have no choice. But the funny story about my Yulbrunner autograph is he was, I think he was doing a revival or it was a screening. It was 25 years ago. So this is one of my earlier autographs for The King and I. And everybody had their autographs of him, you know, with the robe, you know, and the King and I, King and I, King and I. And so it was my turn. I went up to him with this, and he looked back and he said, "Oh," and I had my pen, and he just signed it. He has a very unique signature, Yulbrunner, and that's what I like to do. Tom and I like to go up to a Spaghetti Western actor who's maybe done other things, and they're at an event for that other thing, but I don't care. I'm not there to have them sign a musical. So I bring the Spaghetti Westerns to them, and they're more than happy because they're like, because they kind of nostalgia too. They're like, I didn't think anybody remembered that I made that. So Daniel, an autograph close by, or are we not so fortunate?
No, yes, we have.
Who do we got? As if I couldn't tell you. Wonder if it's going to be Hilton or Steffen.
No, he's going to do somebody different.
We'll see. What are the odds?
Maybe not. Oh, it looks like a DVD.
Yeah.
Okay, DVD? What do we got, Daniel? Who's your autograph?
No,
that's George Hilton.
Nice.
George Hilton. There you go.
Cool. It was his first Italian movie.
There you go.
What was it called, Daniel?
I think it's the Black Pirate or something.
Yeah, the Black Pirate, right. Nero is black.
Oh, okay.
Like the masked man against Nero, the Black Corsaro, whatever that is, pirate.
Cool. And now it's only time. Oh, you can join in too, Daniel. I usually take this one out. I only do the autographs from now on. But we got album of the week, Tom.
No. You didn't forget my autograph of the week.
Oh,
Yeah, I always
All
try.
right, Tom, what is it?
I always try and top Jay because he's got so many. I always try and get an oddball, but I've
Okay.
got. Better give me full screen.
Oh, wait a minute. And go.
I've got Troublemakers, and I've got Ruth Buzzy.
Oh, Tom, I've got a Ruth Buzzy too.
You go, oh, Jay, I thought I got you on that one. Oh.
I have her as the old hag on Laugh-In.
There you go. I tried. You
And
don't
it
have her in
says-
a Western, though, so.
She writes, she says, want a date? That's what she wrote on it. That's a good one. From what film was that, Tom?
That's from Troublemakers of Bud Spencer and Terence Hill, 1994.
Okay, I think you said that. I just didn't hear you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, now let's jump to, well, let's see. Since you just went, Daniel, can you show us an album that you have or a CD?
No, it's not hand distance. But
anything that's lying around.
Flying around. 1 second.
There he goes, Tom.
This can be a Steffen or a Hilton.
It's got to be. It's probably the tequila soundtrack, Tom.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those good ones. No, I don't.
What do we got, Daniel? Couldn't find one?
There we go.
Cool. I'm gonna go out and just run and get that one. What has Evaldo done?
Evaldo is he has a great story, and he died very young. He was in the top in the Brazilian charts with a very popular music. But since it was Brazil under military dictatorship, it was considered like a spaghetti western of music.
Gotcha.
Not taken seriously.
Now, what decade or years was this that he was popular?
Early 70s. No, mid-70s.
Mid-70s? Okay. So that's still spaghetti western here, too. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Tom, what do you got?
Okay. Album of the week I've got is Return of Django.
Oh.
Django's Rucker.
Nice.
This is a 1987 LP by Gianfranco Planizio. The German release on Colosseum on CST 8030. Stereo with 13 tracks. And the value is anywhere from $14 to $24, depending on the condition. I saw one on eBay for $18, which is average.
I thought you were going to say 14 or 2,400, Tom.
No, I haven't gotten those yet. Those are further down in the vault.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is very upbeat compared to the other one. It's got, of course, the film was made in South America, so because of Daniel being here, I wanted to get something that had that type of rhythm to it. Yeah, so that's what I got, Django's Rucker.
Okay, now let's do our I'm going to only do a quick countdown. Okay, that's enough. It's now time for the weekly
really got me
news.
enough time to get it. Okay. Now, a couple things this week. I saw this on Amazon, when I was looking for Daniel's book, and I've gotten these in the past, but it's a Western spaghetti Western catalog or calendar for 2021, and each month has a different Italian Western poster.
I've seen those, Tom. I just couldn't pull the trigger.
They're like $13, so $1 a month. They're pretty cool. I've gotten them in the past. Then we've got
Let's see one.
I don't have it. I've got it folded away because
Okay, wait a minute, Tom. If you're going to do a calendar review, which we'll add a next segment, who has the best calendar?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I've got one this year from Sad Hill. You know, the cemetery that they redid. They released a calendar last year. Huh?
Different tombstones?
No, Sad Hill.
No, I know that, but what would it show? What does it show?
It's got different pictures for every month. It's got pictures of the cemetery, them working on the cemetery, individual crosses.
Okay.
It varies from month to month.
What else you got?
Okay, then I've got a couple of passings. One is a German character actor named Michael Gwizdek, died September 22nd in Berlin. He was 78. He was born in Berlin, Webense, on January 14th, 42. In his acting career in East Germany, He started his career in East Germany in theater, and then he appeared in DIFA films. Do you know who those are, Daniel?
No.
Those are the East German westerns.
Yeah.
Yeah, DIFA was the company that produced them. He moved then to West German theater and then drifted into directing. Gwizdek appeared in 3 Euro westerns: The Falcon's Trail, 1967 as a minor, White Wolves, 1969, and The Adventures of Huck Finn in 2012 as the King. And then we have an assistant director by the name of Arthur Wooster. He was a James Bond film cameraman and director who masterminded action shots for Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore. He died at his home in Little Gaddison, Hertfordshire, England, of dementia on August 30th. He was 91. Arthur was born in Hendon, Middlesex on May 18, 29, and grew up in Wembley, northwest London. Wooster was hired by the director John Glenn to bring scenes of daredevil action to the screen as second unit director on all the James Bond movies of the 80s. He was an assistant director on 2 Euro westerns, Alaska Kid, which was a 1993 TV series, and Ravenous in 1999. Birthdays in the past week were Stephen Forsyth, who turned 82 on September 22nd. He was in A Cult Shadow. Mrs. Craig Hill, Teresa Gimpera, turned 84 on September 22nd. And today is Michael Madsen's 63rd birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. I have one shout out today. Roy Garrett, recovering from gallbladder surgery in Arkansas, was supposed to be set to return home today, so we all want to wish him a get well soon. And that is
Absolutely.
it for News of the Week.
Well, Tom, that's fantastic.
One quick thing. I promised everybody, Daniel, last week I produced a copy of the Clint Eastwood contract for Fistful of Dollars.
Oh.
Yeah, someone sent me a copy of it. Steve Carver, the director of Lone Wolf McQuaid, had a copy because he was filming Arena in Rome in '73 and became friends with Sergio. So he got a copy of the contract.
Great.
This week I won't read it, but I got a copy of the letter from Akira Kurosawa to Sergio, releasing him to release the Dollarfield trilogy to the Asia. And so I posted that on the blog, and I'll post it on WAI Facebook tomorrow, and you can read the whole thing.
That's right. Oh, that's great, Tom. You always full of surprises. You can do that at facebook.com/Westerns All'Italiana. That's Tom's Facebook page, blog, now defunct magazine that you should keep an eye out and get no matter how much it costs. And that you're also watching this podcast at facebook.com/.
And then Jay and I have an announcement.
Okay, just a minute, Tom. Jeez. And I told you, I'm not moving in, Tom.
You can do it.
Anyway, facebook.com/Spaghetti Westerns podcast. And this podcast is seen on Facebook and YouTube or archived. This is our 19th episode. Thank you for all the fan support and supporters. And we have reached 1,000 followers. So in a nice bit of time, I think, 3 or 4 months. So we keep rocking and rolling. Tom and I are the Ayatollahs of Spaghetti Western, if you want to use that terminology. Thank you. Daniel, I was going to ask you anything you want to plug or that's coming up down the road?
Oh, yes. I'm doing a recut of the George Hilton film because a lot of licensing problems with, when you do a movie with...
What a shock.
Yeah. And but anyway, it was good. It's going to be better. So you wait and see, because there are going to be new stuff that came out, and it will be a nice double feature in the future.
Oh, great!
Nice. The director's cut, huh?
You're gonna put
the director's cut with the smaller.
There you go.
Oh,
you're gonna put the English
subtitles, right?
English subtitles. Okay, please. Thank you.
Awesome. Tom he's not an artsy fartsy guy. You take him to a movie at the music hall on Doheny, falls asleep in 5 minutes. So, and the movie is in English. But anyway, so
It is in Spanish and Italian.
Okay.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. I've taken classes in both.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Okay. So, Tom, before I get into our showcase of Facebook pages that celebrate spaghetti westerns, what's your announcement?
Well, what we promised you people was we weren't going to do any Leone, Eastwood, Van Cleef episodes.
Yeah, none of those guys.
We've reached 1,000 people, followers. So since we've reached 1,000, we've scheduled Mike Malloy to come on October 30th, and we're going to do a Lee Van Cleef special since he wrote the biography on Lee Van Cleef. I talked to him yesterday, and he's agreed to come on. Like Daniel, he wanted a lot of money, but Jay chipped in $1 and I chipped in $1, and I think that put it over the top. So
he basically said, "Pay me what you're paying Daniel," so that was easy.
That's right.
So pay him double.
Pay him double. Sure.
But Mike Malloy deserves my deepest appreciation, just like, of course, you guys, but Eric Mash, Ari Lamage, I mean, without Mike House, without the support of those people, I mean, I think I could never do Ulrich Bruckner. I could never do any book or film or whatsoever.
We're the same way.
Great guys,
really great.
We're the same way with them.
Definitely. Tom, I was just going to give you a quick update. I gave Tony Anthony a call, and I said, "Hello, blind man." And where are my women?
Talk to my horse. Where are my women?
But that's a good way to. I think I heard a click right away.
I heard a contract.
No, basically, I gave him a call like you told me to, and I left a message. So I gave him 10 reasons why he should do the show.
Good.
And I told him we'll play Strangers Gun Down for him live if he'll just come on.
Otherwise, we'll get mean.
Right, we will get mean. Right. And so anyway, we'll wait. I usually don't give information like that because I've actually been in contact with other spaghetti western stars, but there's no need to tell you. But since Tom gave me Tony's number, I had to call. Maybe calling at 3 a.m. wasn't the smartest thing, Tom.
Oh.
But anyway, we'll wait back from then. And we also have other authors, special guests that we're not going to announce yet, Tom, right?
That's right. I'm still working on.
That's a real special show coming up soon. But anyway, let's thank the people who watch the show and allow me to promote on their Facebook pages. We have Tom's Own Westerns all'Italiana, of course. We have 800 Spaghetti Westerns in Spain, Once Upon a Time in Italy. Also Spaghetti Westerns, the private group with John Delaney. Spaghetti Westerns movie posters, which of course I'm a fan of. Il Miglio de Westerns all'Italiana. The DVD group, Spaghetti Westerns Unchained. Fanatiques de Spaghetti Western. Opera of Violence, of course. And our two friends, Hulk Janoun and Hideki Onu on YouTube, who allow me to show a lot of the videos that you see. We also save the best for last, Daniel. What do you know of this Spaghetti Western database page?
Well, it helped me a lot in research and really in finding information. I mean, it was really a very important tool, not only knowing more about Hilton and Steffen, of course, but it's really a very precious fount of information.
Oh, it definitely is. And as you can see there, if you can see on the end, it says the website Tom Betts uses daily. So you know it's a big deal. I want to thank Sebastian Hasselbeck for all his support during the show. If you go there, we're on every page, the banner. Every conversation has to involve us or he deletes it. So no matter what you ask, you have to mention the podcast. So we couldn't thank him enough. Oh, he does. So I want to remind everybody that you were on Fridays here on the West Coast, noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock in Europe, and 8 o'clock in the UK. So, Tom, anything else you want to say to our followers and fans, or?
Nope, I did the shout out, so we're clear for next week.
Okay.
I want to thank Daniel for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know it's midnight there now, but
wow.
But it's worth it. It's worth it.
Thank
we'll
you.
have you on again. You finish the documentary. We'll have you back on again.
Right, and we'll show the documentary with a pay-per-view, so
There
you
you
can
go.
only watch it if they pay. But anyway, and so we'll kick you in a little bit. But anyway, we want to thank all of you for watching out in the Spaghetti Westerns land. Tom Betts, Spaghetti Western Historians, Daniel Camargo, author, filmmaker. I'm Jay Jennings, Spaghetti Westerns collector. And we always say to everybody, adios amigos, Tom.
Adios amigos.
Adios amigos.
And, but I always like.
And ciao to Daniel.
Ciao, sì,
Ciao to
sì,
Daniel.
giusto. Deve fare pure così.
Whoa!
Right.
In Italian.
Now he's getting nasty.
Oh no! And then and as I always say to everybody, adios, compañeros.
Compañeros.